Ducks fans, are you ready? You are listening to the Ducks and Pucks podcast. This is the #1 home for Anaheim Ducks talk and analysis. Here we go.
Welcome to the show. This is your host, Mike Walters, along with my co-host, Eddie Richard, and we are back. We are back. I feel like I'm reenacting The Hangover when they found Doug. We are back. We are back. I know it's been a minute, right, Eddie? What was it? July. I know, so it's been 2 months. Sorry, guys. Summertime. Yeah, it's just kind of.
I don't know. It feels like I'm that Titanic gif. Like it's been 84 years.
Yeah, that's another good one too. It's been a while. We've been busy. What have you been up to, Eddie?
I wish I could say something extraordinary, vacation and going over here to Africa, seeing all the animals, or Europe or Australia, but no, I just honestly been working my ass off with my normal job and then my business now, and getting back into playing hockey more and trying to get more of a routine and just trying to do that and kind of blow off steam. I actually won my little beer league champion.
Yeah.
Last Wednesday, so it was actually good to get that with the boys and drink in the parking lot with the team. They're a great group of guys. Happy birthday to we call him Little Eddie. He turned 21 last Wednesday when we won the championship, and we're having a party for him tomorrow. So it's gonna be fun to go out there and blow some steam off and socialize and stuff. I've been a little more of a hermit crab because after working as much as I do, I just don't want to really do anything. I just want to just kind of relax and binge watch some TV shows and drink in my room and just kind of relax and hang out.
Yeah, I feel you. It's been the same thing for me as well. Just been working a lot during the summer. A lot of crazy things just going on lately. I almost have 2 jobs because I have kind of a secondary assignment at work that people know that I do, and I'm just really busy. I plan a lot of events, attend a lot of things that aren't always the most cheerful things, but are things that are necessary in this day and age. So I've just been real busy. I do plan on going to San Diego next week. It's my wife's birthday, so we usually try to go somewhere. So we're just going to do a little road trip. We're going to go to the last Padres game of the season, and then just hang out there for about 4 or 5 days, and then I'll come back, and then obviously the season will start. It's kind of what we normally do. We will go somewhere, not always too crazy. I remember one year we did go to Italy, and I remember flying back and just making it in time for the Ducks season opener. That was a crazy one, but most of the trips are usually local. But gonna do that and get rolling with this. But training camp's here. And there's a lot going on with this team, and it's kind of crazy, Eddie. It's just kind of nuts right now.
Yeah, you forgot one more important question. I know we're both kind of rusty. It's been 84 years since we did a podcast. But Mike, what are you drinking?
I remember.
The most important question of the podcast that we have to prepare for, and one of the things I look forward to. You know what? One time, I'm just sure we're going to record a podcast, and we're going to do this whole introduction, and then I'm going to ask you, what are you drinking? And I'm going to talk to you what I'm drinking. I'll be like, all right, guys, have a good time. I hope you enjoyed the show. Boom, over 2 minutes.
I know. I thought about that too. I'm like, oh, he's probably going to ask. I forgot.
Yep.
So just my usual. This isn't the healthiest thing. I'm not promoting this, but Red Bull vodka, it's a good thing. Or Celsius vodka, that's a good thing.
What's Celsius vodka? What is that?
Well, Celsius is another energy drink that's out there. That's another added one to the Rockstar Monster, all the other stuff. So a little bit of that is kind of been the thing lately here and there. Just kind of mix it up. They low sugar, low carb, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's probably not the best thing with one being, upper and one a downer, but whatever. So, once in a while I have a few of those, and it's kind of good to go. What are you having, Eddie?
I'm actually having a Happy Dad. Happy Dad, they call it the Big Papa Fruit Punch Hard Seltzer, and it's really delicious. It's good. It's doing the trick.
It sounds good. I'm making my lips water.
Yeah, and then I had a couple of shots of the Pink Whitney, as usual.
Nice. All right, well, now that we've kind of got our drinks settled, and maybe you guys have your drinks settled too, if you're listening. The Ducks started training camp. We're going to kind of talk about that. Some of the moves that they did do, we obviously talked about Gudis and Killorn on the last show. We'll talk about some of the minor things going on. Talk about some of the stuff as far as like the captain and a lot of fan questions. Instagram, you guys provided a ton of questions. This show is really pretty much driven by you guys. It's kind of a combination of catching up on stuff in the last couple months, but a lot of it's driven by your questions. That's kind of how I put the topics together. So I appreciate that. You guys have been awesome on there. And we'll just kind of dive into it and kind of get you caught up and kind of give our opinion. There's some things going on that, I guess things that are not going on that Eddie and I aren't really happy about. So obviously the elephant in the room, the big thing that everybody's talking about right now is Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale. Both these guys are not at training camp. The latest thing that we've heard, Pierre Lebrun said that it sounded like the Ducks and Zegras were in agreement on a 3-year deal. They're not on agreement on the amount. Then you had this rumor floating out there by TVA Sports that Zegras is in the 3-4 million range. A couple other people, I think, reported that as well. It's been kind of floating out there. And then Drysdale, we don't even know what's going on as far as the term or the money. It's been very, very vague. And a lot of you are upset asking those questions. I totally get it. We had K.Dut55 on Instagram asking, is the 3-year deal for Zegras going to happen? Riderboy143, when does Zegras get his contract? We got Wofford7. Do you think a 3-year deal is fair for Zegras? So, I guess we'll start with Trevor. And what do you think, Eddie? It went from, Troy Terry got signed, got a 7-year deal, $7 million each year. We kind of talked about Zegras. We thought, Zegras might get a 6-year, 7-year deal. And now here we are, we're talking about a 3-year deal and possibly in the $3-4 million range. What do you think? I mean, obviously, I know you're not happy and I'm not happy that they're both not at training camp. You can talk about that as well. But what do you think kind of deal Zegras will get? Do you think it's going to be a shorter-term deal, a longer-term deal? Like, what do you think about Zegras? And if you want to weigh in on Jamie as well.
Well, we'll start with Zegras. We'll just do it in that order, and we'll talk about Drysdale in secondary. But I don't understand what's going on, and we've been reading reports about like a $3 to $4 million range. I think that's a little lowballing for Zegras. Yes, I know he hasn't really, really proven himself to get that. I guess the old school mentality is he hasn't really proven himself to get that huge contract. But a lot of teams are paying for that potential and signing players to bigger contracts, a little bit more money, and seeing how they pan out. And it's been working. Like Jack Hughes and other players of his caliber have done the same thing. And I think he wants to be get the biggest contract he can right now to show his potential. He scored back-to-back 60-plus points. And he just keeps getting better and better. Yes, there's always things you can improve on as a hockey player. There's always things that he needs to improve on. Obviously getting stronger, getting those hard, dirty areas, battling. But when he has the puck, he's a magician. He can create magic and things like that. And we have to pay for a player like that. I think Verbeek kind of stonewalling him and kind of doing this whole negotiation crap is only going to get fed up and tired of a player like Zegras. There's 31 other teams that would be happy to have his services and that would go and get it. And I'm surprised that a team hasn't threw an offer sheet. I know it's really rare in hockey for an offer sheet, but if I'm a GM and I'm seeing what's happening over here in Anaheim, I would be like, hey, well, you know what? I think you're the real deal. I think you're a potential franchise kind of player. I'll shoot you 8 or 7. Well, 7 years at $7 or $8 million if you want to do that. And Ducks would have no choice but to match it, and boom, they get what they want. But then you have that negative kind of thing where, yeah, my manager didn't want me. I had to actually sign an offer sheet. Same thing with Ryan O'Reilly way back in the day when he signed with Calgary. It was just kind of like Ryan O'Reilly wanted the money, he wanted to get paid, and Calgary set the offer sheet and he accepted it, but the Avs matched it, and obviously he didn't stay there. So I don't know. I know I'm as frustrated as every other fan, and this organization is. I mean, you have a few outlier fans that think Zegras shouldn't get this kind of money or he'd be happy, but I think $3 to $4 million right now is a slap in the face to him. I just don't think it's it's worth what he can do. I mean, the cap is going up, but we get that. I think this is the last year that players have to pay escrow too, so that plays a really determining factor in it. They don't have to pay the owners back and all the league back of what they owed from all the COVID crap. But having a player that can potentially be a franchise player that actually brought Anaheim on the map, that created electrifying moves where you have people that don't even like hockey. You have celebrities like Michael B. Jordan tuning into hockey, bringing new fans to the game. Kids trying to emulate what he's done and what he's doing in part of the game, looking up to him by all fan bases. There's only a select few, like I said, outlier fans that don't like his kind of swag and what he does, but majority of the league loves what he brings, and his skill level just keeps improving. It's not like he digressed and went lower. He just, I think he's deserved more than just a 3-year at $3 to $4 million AAV.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I to me, if they're gonna do 3 years, which already that's kind of a surprise. We were thinking back when the season ended, 6 years, 7 years, heck 8 years, whatever. We thought there'd be like a long-term deal, higher amount. To me, if they get it done in 3 years, if that's really what they're at, from what the reports are saying, to me, I would think at least $5 million is what would be maybe fair for both sides. If you're doing the 3 years, I don't know. To me, I'm with you, Eddie. 3 or 4 million is a slap in the face. I don't think you can go anywhere less than 5 if it's a short-term deal. You're doing a short-term, you want to re-up and do another one, that's fine. That's where I would see it going. Otherwise, it's not good. And I don't think this is good in general for the team. I don't like them starting training camp. I don't think many people out there really thought that this day would come and Drysdale and Zegras are not on the ice with the team. It's just not good. I did happen to speak to Damien Drysdale a couple weeks ago, and I asked him about what was going on, and officially he said no comment. And I talked to him a little bit more about it, and he's frustrated. I'm not going to say the specifics, but he's not happy, and it's just not good. And I'm sure that Zegras is probably in the same mindset. And you have these two guys that are supposed to be your core players going forward, and you can't agree on these deals. I mean, if you're not going to give both of them long-term deals, that's understandable. You want to do shorter ones. I guess more so in Drysdale's case because he was injured last year. It makes more sense. That one we were kind of thinking maybe a 2 or 3 year deal, which is the way it could probably go. But if you're going to give these guys shorter term deals and not longer term ones, then you should be able to pay them more per season. Because like you said, Eddie, they're anticipating the cap to go up. I just don't. I don't like what I'm seeing, and a lot of the comments we're getting on social media are very negative in general. And you hit the nail on the head there, Eddie. A lot of them are aimed at Verbeek, and then there's a small percentage that are aimed at Zegras and Drysdale. And I think that's well placed. I think a lot of you out there are not happy with the GM, and I think you're right. Some of you feel that because Drysdale was hurt and then Zegras needs to prove himself a little bit more, that maybe they're not entitled or haven't earned a big high-paying contract. I could see that a little bit, I guess, maybe a long-term type style. But if you're going to do a shorter-term deal with these guys, I would give them the money, because here's the thing. You're going to do a shorter-term deal. They're willing to do that. At least we know that for sure on the Zegras side. I mean, what are they going to do in those 3 years or 2 years or 4 years or whatever when these deals pan out? Are they then going to want to stay with the team? If it goes past to where they're a UFA, or are they going to say pound sand and want to, I don't know. You basically, long story short, you're playing with fire, and I think you would agree, Eddie.
Oh, yeah, and I don't understand what's the whole thing of it. I know people mentioned Raquel, he held out. Raquel's never had back-to-back 60-goal point seasons with the Ducks. So we have to take that into consideration. Like, you want to compare apples to oranges. Raquel was never going to be a potential franchise player for the Ducks. Yes, he did score almost 70 points in 2017, 2018. He had a hell of a season, but he never really got back to that production level that he could be. Like, we knew Raquel's ceiling and what he was going to be capable of, but no one ever considered Raquel a franchise type player to bring the asses in the seats and to get that. Zegras, even though his second season came and teams knew what kind of flash he does and what he's going to do and wants to make things flashy, they still couldn't really control his game. Obviously, the biggest issue was players taking runs at him and trying to, I guess, not trying to hurt him, but just trying to like discourage him from doing those kind of plays. We got some more grit, which was good by Rebrand on this season. But Zegras is someone different than Raquel. Zegras has the ceilings like so up there. Like you can't go wrong with this gamble. Like it's not Vegas. Like the house doesn't always win this time. I think this is the appropriate gamble, and paying him what he deserves. And the $3-4 million, that is a slap in the. That's pathetic. Yeah, like to us normal people, $3-4 million, we'll be happy and excited. We'll probably live the rest of our lives cool like that. But to endure what these hockey players do, eat day in and day out, the practice, to put their bodies through, the 82 game seasons, everything like that. Think of it. His agent gets a percentage. He has to pay his personal training staff, personal chefs to have his food. Yes, I know it sounds bougie, but these players have to have a nutrition plan, and I'm sure a lot of them know how to cook. You have to figure in the California state tax is pretty much brutal and hell. So a lot of that money is not going to be what it is, and to pay just a $3-4 million, like I looked at that, like, and I said I'm all old school mentality. I think a player should earn his contract, but I'm kind of conforming to what's going on now. Like these teams are paying for players a little bit lower than what they deserve, I guess, but they're paying for what they're capable of, and players like I think it was Cole Caulfield too, that got a big contract and it paid dividends. Jack Hughes, I think he's a similar player to Trevor Zegras. They both have that same swag and that little cocky kind of attitude, but they kind of can back it up. I think I'd be happy with maybe 7, the 3 at 6.57 million. I think that'd be a little bit fair, maybe a little bit higher above 7, but a $3-4 million deal, you're going to start that, Rebrand. You're just going to piss off your player. And as Matthew Tkachuk proved, he was he was not eligible to be a UFA, for a while. I think a couple of years when he was 25 or maybe 24 when he told the Flames that he's not planning to stay and have a future with their team. And that's big because now these young players, they're not like before where they're afraid to say, they're just happy to be there. Now they have a voice and they can say that. They can do things like we talked about, Mike, taking Anaheim Ducks, everything off your Instagram profile and things like that, and it blows up in the media. Now it puts pressure on Rebrand. Rebrand's more old school, so he's not going to probably bow down to that. But it still pays a lot of dividends for these players to do that because you kind of prove that you have leverage. Matthew Tkachuk, and I respect him. I like him as a player. He's a great player, and he's probably one of my top favorites in the league, just the way that physical grit style he plays and the skill he brings. But him doing that and telling the team that he's not gonna re-sign with them, even though he had that RFA, they have his RFA rights. Now that just opens up a door, Pandora's box for these young players to be like, hey, well, you know what? I'm letting you know I'm not gonna re-sign with your team and blah blah blah. So basically, you're just gonna be wasting this player for a couple of years where he's not gonna re-sign. And once it goes up to the media, everything blows up and it's a PR disaster. You have to get rid of him. But I think this is a slap in the face, and I would not hold Zegras accountable or be pissed off at him if later down in the future this is a determining factor where he doesn't want to sign in Anaheim anymore because he just threw him a $3-4 million deal. Like, why don't you just sign him to another entry level deal? Like, it's that contract, the AAV, if true, is pathetic and disgusting.
Yeah, and I think the response that you talked about that maybe some people haven't looked at is you go on the Instagram for Zegras, and his bio, all it has is Z in there, and he no longer has a photo of him wearing Ducks stuff. He's got like a little blindfold or some kind of eye cover thing on him. Looks like he's sitting somewhere. So that's not on there, and he hasn't posted on there in a while. Jamie Drysdale hasn't posted on his in a while. He has nothing in his profile. He's still in a Ducks jersey though.
And that blindfold means that he's afraid to look at the next offer. Verbeek's gonna try to offer him. I don't know.
Yeah, you could look into that. And there's people that have looked at that photo and they're wondering is that the way he is? I mean, we know that obviously of the two, Zegras is more outspoken and outgoing. So it's kind of a telltale sign when you see that, because they're usually more active on Instagram than Twitter, or as it's now called, X. So that's kind of interesting. The other thing I wanted to point out is Cap Friendly has the Ducks cap space at over $16 million. So you still have plenty of money. If you were to give Zegras a $6 or $7 million deal, and then say even Drysdale $4 or $5 million, you're still going to have another $5 million hanging out. I mean, you're still going to have room there. So it's not like the Ducks are tight on money. Yes, you signed Gudas and Killorn to bigger deals, but we'll get into it here in just a second. These other moves that they did, some PTOs and minor stuff, but the money's there. So I don't understand that part of it. If you're gonna not want to do a long-term deal with both, like we've talked about, you want to do a shorter-term deal, okay, you have the money on there. You have some contracts at the end of this year. We know Silfverberg, who I also talked to during the offseason. He's coming back from his second blood clot, unfortunately. But he's going to be done at the end of the season. He's going to come off the books. So that's another $5 million right there. So it's not like you're not going to have money, especially next season, for this team. When you've got guys like that are going to, come off the books that are costing a lot of money. You have Henrique too. He's at $5.8 million, and he's a UFA at the end of the season. So it sounds like Silfverberg's going back to Europe, and then if Henrique's gone, that's $10 million right there between two players, and then you've got 16 hanging out in the cap space. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? I mean, I don't know. You did bring in Lyubushkin, and he's $2.7 million this year. Then he's a UFA, but you still have that money. So I don't know. I'm not really happy with the situation. I don't think any of us thought that this was going to get to this point at the start of the season. And to me, it's not healthy for both the players, and it's not healthy for the team overall. I mean, I hope something gets done in the next week or so. I know, maybe that'll make it better. But right now, I really, really wonder. This will be my last thought in that. I'll give it back to you, Eddie. But, just the long-term damage or effects this will take. I don't know. But I'll give you the last word, and then we'll talk about the moves that the Ducks have just made.
Well, damage is done. It seems like they don't appreciate his talent and effort he brought to the organization. Yeah, I know they're not paying for him, I guess necessarily to bring attention to the Anaheim Ducks, but he's brought them a lot of attention, and that means more revenue, more eyes on them, more sponsorship deals, things like that. That disgusting sponsorship they have on that their jersey. I'm pretty sure Zegras had a big determining factor in that, because he, like I said, he was putting A celebrities that don't even watch hockey on the map, and him and Michael B. Jordan are over here messaging about the play. Like, Michael B. Jordan shares it on his Instagram. He has millions of followers. Like, all right, people that don't follow hockey, who are the Anaheim Ducks? Now you're getting more clicks. From those clicks, you're probably getting more of a fan base. Hey, let me check out a game. This kid's electric. You're bringing more fans. You're putting asses in the seats. Yes, that's not a reason to pay them, but kind of it is. Like, if you're a superstar player, you're a franchise player, you're going to bring seats, asses to the seats. Look at Bedard, which will bring that sore subject up for Ducks fans. I'm still pissed off about that too. But Chicago, their season tickets boosted the night they won the first overall lottery draft. It's like
millions.
Players millions. I'm sorry, millions. So it's like they're not paying Zegras. It's just, I don't know what's going on. The cap's gonna go up regardless. It's gonna go up no matter what. The players are done paying escrow. It's gonna go up. So I don't understand what's going on with Verbeek. Verbeek started off strong with the Ducks. He did a lot of things that Murray didn't, but it seems like now we're having Murray 2.0, where he's just telling us everything we want to hear and being that politician that promises everything, that fifth grade president that wants to extend recess to like 6 hours a day, but he's not delivering it. It's just kind of bullshit. And everything that's going on, usually we're excited for another duck season, but the way things are going this off season, I'm not really excited for it.
Yeah, and then just the last thing I'll say is, because this likes to happen, maybe they'll get signed right after we record this, but it's stuff like that happens with our show. You loyal listeners and followers, you know, a lot of times we'll post a show, and then I swear to God, the day we post the show, some news will break. So maybe this podcast will be like a good luck charm, and they'll both be signed this weekend. But if not, I still, or if they are, I would still say the same stuff that Eddie and I have already said. There's still been damage that has been done. So I just hope it gets done sooner than later. Kind of moving along now, talking about what the Ducks have done. They have signed some other people. We talked about Gudas and Killorn back on the last podcast, but they brought in Lyubushkin from the Sabres. They traded him for a 4th-round pick in 2025. They brought in Stalock for $800,000 for this next season. Also got in Robert Haig for a 1-year deal with the Flyers. And then a couple PTOs, Zach Kassian and Scott Harrington. So with this, these are all smaller deals. Obviously, Lyubushkin's the bigger one at 2.7. It looks like the Ducks trying to get a little bit more tougher and more grit. You have Lyubushkin and Haig that are in there, both bigger guys. Lyubushkin can kill penalties. You have Haig that's a good shot blocker, not necessarily as good on the penalty kill, but maybe better on 5-on-5. You then have Kassian, which is kind of a sore player for some Duck fans, obviously with the runs he's taken to some of our guys. And then you have Scott Harrington, who's also another big guy, another 6'2" guy that is a good penalty killer. So they've got more depth guys on there. Looks like size was the theme in the draft. Looks like size was the theme in free agency. We don't know if Kassian and Harrington are going to work out. They're just on those tryout contracts. So I do like these things. Obviously, this is smaller stuff on the side, not as big of a deal, but. What do you make of some of these moves, Eddie? It looks like, Verbeek is trying to get that more grit size on the team, which has been missing. So in this part, I do like what he's done. I mean, it's not huge stuff, but, it's more in that direction of what you and I have talked about, having those harder to play against players like you talked about, players that are going to stand up for their teammates and things like that. So, and all these are pretty not really expensive deals. So I'm okay with all these moves. Do they drastically improve the team? Are the Ducks going to be a playoff team, a Stanley Cup contender because of these guys? No. But I do like these moves. I do think that they do help add in that direction of how he was talking about being more tougher on the puck defensively and through the neutral zone and whatnot. So I do kind of like those. Any of these things that you like, dislike, or what do you think about these other minor moves that were made in the last couple months?
I think they're really good. I mean, Scott Harrington he's a big defenseman, throws his body around. He has that he has that way to kind of separate the person from the puck, which is good. But you can't really be bringing in Scott Haig and Lyubushkin and Gudas. Like, where's the room for the rest of the people? I get bringing Lyubushkin, Gudas, Haig could be that 7th defenseman, that kind of Dalzado kind of person. But we have to give these defensemen... we have 3 defensemen that won some kind of a trophy of Defense of the Year in their respective leagues. Like, we have to bring them up. Like, Zellweger's a really small guy at 5'11", so he's going to... it's going to pay dividends bringing guys like this, guys like Gudas and Lyubushkin, where you can put them on a pairing team together. And he knows that he can do his offensive ability and not have to worry about getting his ass pummeled and not having people get his back. But Kassian, I mean, let's just say it, he's a piece of shit player to play for, but you love him on your team. Like Ryan Reeves, everyone hates Ryan Reeves, but when he's on your team, you love him. So I think these are all good moves. The PTO for Harrington, it's good to see just that and see if it works, but I wouldn't want to waste. I mean, if we could do like a 2-way contract and he can just go up and down to San Diego and Anaheim, that'd be cool. But I don't want him to be signed one way and just kind of hinder and take a spot for one of our young guys, because we have to start throwing him in there, getting him experience and getting him ready to play for the NHL, especially like a player like Zellweger. It seems like he's part of our one of our top defenseman prospects right now. Just the way he's been playing and the way his confidence is, like, you don't want to just throw him down back to juniors or minors or whatever, and just kind of like lose his swag. Hag is kind of inconsistent, but when he's on. He can be a good defensive player, so I'm looking forward to that. Staylock, I think it's good. Like you said, depth signing over here on our notes. Stolars is gone, and we can ride with that. It seems like it's going to be Gibson and Drysdale going forward, but injuries always happen to the Ducks. So the whole moves, I'm okay with. I think the Ducks did a good job making these moves, bringing these big physical players in. They got size, they got grit, and that's what the Ducks needed. They needed some kind of identity, and hopefully these guys, including Gudis, can bring that identity and bring that kind of dirty Ducks back. Like, make teams, when you come to this, this arena, you play the Ducks team. Yeah, they're going to be a shitty team. Like we said, this team's not making playoffs. So if you're one of these fans hoping to watch a postseason and Ducks win the Stanley Cup, you're delusional. It's not going to happen. This team is not a contending team. We're going to be at the bottom of the barrel this season. We're going to improve. Obviously, there's no way we can get worse from last season, knock on wood. We were dead last. We got fucked on the draft. So there's no way we can go down. And don't quote me on that, because who knows what's going to happen near future. Ducks will probably trend a lot lower than we'd have. But this is a significant improvement, and I think we'll at least finish at least third or fourth to last, not dead last. So I guess that's much of an improvement.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will do better this season for sure. I mean, I joked with some of the players too, and I saw them. I said, "We can only go up, right? I mean, you can't go. I mean, we could stay last and stay where we were at, but you can't go lower than last. So, I mean, hopefully we go up. The question is how far we go up, and obviously with these guys, that'll help a little bit. No Zegras or Drysdale, that's not going to help. I still think deals get done, but
Mike too. I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's okay. Go ahead.
We forgot to talk about Drysdale, his contract, and what's going on with that? Like, we're talking offline too. He spent the whole season pretty much injured, and he had a good first season, being thrown in the Wolves. How come he's not signed, Mike? Like, it shouldn't be that hard to sign him. He's under a $3 million player to get signed, like on a bridge deal. So I don't know. Like, what do you think Verbeek's thinking on that? What do you think Drysdale in his mind's thinking? Like, does Drysdale think he's worth like an $8 million contract, or Verbeek's just waiting on Zegras to sign before he gets Drysdale? Like, it's just, that's kind of odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it. Maybe he's trying to see how much Zegras is going to be, because I mean, Zegras should be more than Drysdale, obviously, but Drysdale shouldn't be just thrown the scraps either. So I think that's
exactly.
I think that's part of it too. I think the injury stuff last year, unfortunately, definitely hurt him going forward. Him not being able to play almost the whole season, being out, that did not help. So that's part of it. But it's been very, very quiet. And I mentioned earlier in the show, I talked to him, and it's been very frustrating. He didn't give me any numbers or anything like that. But you would think, hey, he's been injured. Let's do this 2-3 year bridge deal and get him in there. I don't know, at least $4 million, $5 million. I mean, you got Gudis at $4 million. I mean, why not bring him in? You got Lyubushkin at 2.7. So, I mean, you're telling me Drysdale's not worth at least that, or somewhere in there? I mean, that I don't know. To me, I know a lot of people are frustrated with the Zegras thing. I'm very frustrated with the Drysdale thing, because to me, of the two, if you were to say back at the end of the season, hey guys, between the two players, Zegras or Drysdale, which one will not be signed come the season? I would say Zegras. If we were forced to pick somebody, right? I mean, we both thought, no, they'd be done, whatever. But if someone told you, hey, you have to pick, one of these guys will not be signed, I would say Zegras, because obviously he would look for a longer term. He was healthy, doing his points, the value, the draw to the team, and putting the team on the map, like you talked about, Eddie. is essentially huge.
Yeah.
The kids on the rinks and backyards in the Midwest and Canada and East Coast, flipping pucks over nets, doing the Michigan and all these other crazy things, it's because of him. So that's why I see a lot of maybe with Zegras' agent and the Ducks, a lot of discussion going on with the value. With Drysdale, to me, the Ducks defense is not that great. I mean, yes, you have Fowler on there, you have Gudis, you brought in Lyubushkin, you've got Vakanainen who got off the IR recently. There's like your top four. Then you have Lacombe, Haig, and White to fill in. I mean, let's be real. The Ducks blue line isn't that great. And then you're gonna like fight about it with Drysdale. I mean, I don't know. To me, I would want to get him signed right away, get him in there, get him practicing, help out this blue line, and work on that. I mean, that's just where I see it. It's just kind of tough. It's just frustrating, unfortunately. And I know a lot of people out there, you guys are listening, and you feel the same way. I don't have an answer. I really think Drysdale, of the two, should have been done already. That this should not... Drysdale, to me, should have been zero issue. Because, yes, he was hurt, so you go for a lower term, and you figure out the money, and you're good to go. So I just don't get it. That one I don't understand. Zegras I could see because he's going to command more money and all the things that we've talked about before. So that's where they're at. They've done these other depth moves. They still have that cap space. Another thing is they brought in a couple of coaches to help out too. I just want to mention real quick, they had Brett Thompson for the defense. He took over Stother's spot. He was the head coach of the Bridgeport Islanders for 9 seasons, and then he's also the father of Tage and Tice Thompson. And you have David Rook came in for goaltending. Remember, Sudsy sadly has pancreatic cancer, so they brought in Rook to help facilitate that in the goaltending thing. So I think they've done some good things behind the bench, right? They got Cronin in there. If you listen to the interviews at him at training camp, that sounds good. Cronin's very funny too, because that situation, I asked the players, I'm not going to say which player said what, but some players, there's mixed reactions. Some players are looking forward to having them in there as opposed to Akins. They think that he's an improvement. And then there's other players that are kind of scared of him. They think he's going to be a hard ass and grind them into the ice, which to me, I'm all for it. I like, let's go. I'm like Miracle again. Like, let's get it going. Like, I feel like part of the issue with this team has been that. It's been kind of the direction is what Eddie and I have talked about. This team doesn't really have like a theme or where they're going to go. And that kind of goes into the other thing. I'll kind of skip ahead and some of kind of our notes here, but it kind of ties into the whole captain thing too. You have these younger guys. You have a lot of new coaching staff, a couple new players, Gudis and Killorn, which can teach some of the younger guys. I like that. That's good. But, the word out of training camp is that they're going to go another season without a coach, according to Verbeek. That's what
a captain.
Yeah. That's what the Mighty Jerseys said. Should the Ducks name a captain, they're not going to go with the captain. So
no, he said a coach right now. He said a coach.
You know what I meant. I mean, yeah, they're not going to go with the captain.
Well, yeah, our fans though. I don't want to get blown up on Ducks and Pucks. Like, you're with a coach. Like, no, he meant captain though. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, sorry, too much vodka and Red Bull. Yes, that's what I meant. But they're talking about not going with the captain. So you're going with the alternates again. I mean, that's another problem I have going into this season. And again, I talked to some of the players and talked to Terry and Henrique, especially about this. And they're all for the captain role. They're like, let's rock and roll. Let's do it. Obviously, I think Terry would be the one to carry that, especially with this new contract, younger player. He's like jazzed. He just had his baby. He's all pumped up. He's been working out hard. He looks great. He's motivated. I think he would be the front runner. I do like Henrique too. Henrique's like, let's go. I'm ready to do it too. But obviously his contract's up at the end of the season. I don't know if he's part of the long-term plan or not. He might not be. But I think that's the issue is you don't have your two big guys that are supposed to be the core going forward. This team, I don't know what the identity of this team is. Maybe Cronin can establish that. And then you don't have a coach. So, I'm not trying to be a negative person. I'm just trying to talk about like where we are with this team right now. Be realistic. I don't know what's going to happen with this team this season. I think there's a lot of question marks to start the season, and you don't have a captain. You don't have two of your key players. I'm not saying, I'm not excited for the season. I am. I want to see what's going to happen, but it's a rocky start at the beginning, Eddie, right now.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Like we want to have optimism, we want to have hope, and now it just seems like this season is going to shit again. And it's kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen. Like, yeah, we already know we're not going to be a contending team. We're not going to be a competitive team. We're going to be at the bottom of the barrel. But it's not looking good. Hopefully Brett Thompson can convince his son Tage to request a trade from Buffalo and get his ass over here to Anaheim, because as big as he is, and as you know what, Tage Thompson is a big player, and you don't expect a big player like that to skate the way he does, but the way he skates, it's phenomenal. Like Buffalo, like for some reason, their players are feeding into that system. They've been shitty for so long. They missed the playoffs again, but something's in the water over there, and those players are just. Oh, Tage Thompson, if you watch him skate, Mike, he does not skate like he's as big as he is. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", something like that. He's a huge kid, but he skates just like the wind. He's a great skater, so maybe we can get him if he has dad over here. But yeah, I want to say too, Sudsy, it sucks, cancer, fuck cancer, and I continuously to wish you and everyone that's having to deal with that, people that know, family members, friends that deal with that, my heart's with you and my prayers are with you. So that's a horrible thing, but yeah, Mike, it's just like everything going on. There's no captain. There's just nothing. It's just like the Ducks are pretty much starting off for what happened last season. Like what's gonna happen? You have to have a leader for this team. Like you have no identity. You have no leader. That just tells me your GM doesn't really think of your group as a leadership group, and it doesn't like fit right with me. I don't like that at all. I think the dumbest thing a team can do is not name a leader. Patrice Bergeron just retired. He was probably beloved and one of the greatest captains that will ever go down in NHL history. He was probably like the Getzlaf of us, like to them, to Boston. Marchand got named captain. I think the Ducks should have named someone captain. I don't care if Henrique's there for fucking 3 more months. Name someone captain. Henrique's a really good leader. He wore the A in New Jersey. He's a veteran guy. He's a good guy in the locker room. But you have to name someone. Get a committee. Get your veteran players, your leader players. Get a few guys that are gonna be with the team for a while. Your younger guys. Bring in Getzlaf and let's all talk about it. Let's name a C. Let's throw that captaincy on your jersey and see how you can lead this team, because it's like not having a leader really have like 6 A's. Like what's gonna happen in your future? You're gonna have like 12 A's going forward. That's so dumb. It's just like you have too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. It's just so stupid. I think that the biggest mistake the Ducks are doing right now, besides not having identity, is not naming a captain. And honestly, I'm not optimistic for this season. I'm usually optimistic for the Duck seasons. But now I'm just like, okay, whatever. The Ducks are going to just be shitty. They're not going to have leadership. They're not going to really have an identity. You're going to have a bunch of players just kind of doing their own thing and not have a leadership to actually get them kind of cohesive and be that team. So we're just going to have to suck it up and deal with another horrible season. I do have more cable channels, so I'll be probably watching badminton more. But it's just, something has to give, and you have to actually define a leader. And your GM should be the ultimate leader, but it seems like Verbeek isn't being that leader. Like, he's just not doing what's necessary to get this team better, and it sucks because we have so much potential with like the best prospect pool in the National Hockey League, but he's not utilizing that. He's just seems like he's gonna sink this ship just like Bob Murray did.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the captain thing is we endured that last year, and it wasn't the worst thing last year. I kind of was okay, whatever. They're not going to do it. But then there was also the whole thing of like they had different people that were alternates and they were changing it around and doing that kind of stuff. And I was like, not really a fan of that. That part I didn't like. So now you go into this season, and what are you going to do? Is Henrique going to have an A? Is Terry going to have an A? Is Gudis and Kallorn going to have an A? Because they're kind of senior guys mentoring these people. It's just, I don't know. I like some of the stuff Verbeek's done, but then some of these other things I don't. It's just kind of a mixed bag for me as far as what's going on. But we've talked about before having direction and having leadership, and you're not doing it. And I've told you on the show here right now that I've talked to two of the players that are more than willing to take on that role and try and take this team, a faster phase out of this rebuild and into a contending team. There's two players willing to do that. And two players that I think most of you out there would be happy with, Terry and Henrique. You could argue between the two, but I think if either one of them were in there, you would be ecstatic. Even if it was Henrique as a transition. We talked about that last season. I don't know. So that's another question mark that I have to figure out. Another thing that happened, you got more on that?
Well, yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we were talking offline too. My vote is Henrique. I think he'd be a phenomenal captain. Like reiterating that, like I said earlier, but why not McTavish? Yeah, I know he's still a rookie, but look at Landeskog. Landeskog got named captain his second season at 19 years old. Youngest captain at that time in the National Hockey League, and he killed it. He just absolutely nailed it. He rose to the occasion, and he became a supreme great captain, and he's probably going to go down as one of the best captains as well as the National Hockey League. And I've spent numerous times watching him like practice, and I spent numerous conversations. I can't even count on my hands how many conversations I had one-on-one with Gabriel Landeskog of the Avalanche when I was stationed over there. He was always just number one, top-notch guy, leader first. Watching him lead the ice, and when things aren't going well, or other players, I know we had like issues. If you guys remember that with Steve Downey, there were some issues in the Avalanche practice, and he just kind of shut it down. Like, hey, not in front of the fans. Let's take it to the locker room. And I think Gabriel Landeskog is a phenomenal leader. And at being 19, he really rose to the occasion, and he really matured. He did a really great job. And like I said, I've talked to him more than numerous times, and he was just nothing but top-notch Class A leadership. And why not name one of these young guys? McTavish, his age, I don't know if you remember your age at his age, Mike. I was not as mature as McTavish. I was doing stupid shit. But McTavish is really, really great, and I think if the Ducks want more of a future thing, and if they're waiting for Zegras or whatnot, why not just throw that captaincy on McTavish and see how he can lead this team? If he fails, no problem. I know it's a lot of pressure for a young guy to have that responsibility, but some guys can raise to the occasion. You'll never know what you can get until you give them that opportunity or you throw them to the Sharks. I learned how to swim by my brother throwing me in the deep end of the pool. So I guess you have to take a chance in doing that, but you just can't run the season running, 4 or 5 A's. I don't know what the Ducks are going to do, but this is getting to the point where if something doesn't happen significantly for this season and Ducks aren't improving and just this team is just drowning, I think Verbeek is on the chopping block, and I don't think that it's... And I think he should be. This is kind of ridiculous. Like, we should be trending up, not just kind of being in the middle.
Yeah, and there's already people that are upset with him to that point. There's already people saying similar things I've seen on social media that you said, Eddie, which I didn't think we'd be already at that point, starting this, having started this season, and there's people that are like, get him out of here. I'm like, damn. I mean, it's not good. And that's, I think, the big thing too, is this is not good for the team. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for everybody. You've got a lot of consternation going into the season, and it's not where we want to be. I guess the one surprising thing that I was now transitioning into is Gibson. Gibson is still here. That's a weird one. I mean, you and I kind of had a bet. You thought he would be gone. There's still a week or two away from the season, so maybe you could still win. But he's here for now. there was a big fervor about that over this summer, and a lot of, that thing got blown up. You had what was it, Frank Saravelli, and then I forgot who, the agent or whatever, and there was a big shitstorm on Twitter or X or whatever, and they were going back and forth, and there was a month there where everybody was losing their mind about that. That kind of went away, and then it shifted now to Zegras and Drysdale, and then obviously no captain. But what do you think about the Gibson thing? He's going to start the season. He's with the team. Have your thoughts changed on that? I mean, he is, I would say, a leader on the team. Do you think that he's part of the long-term plan? Or do you think maybe he's gone at some point during this season?
My important question is, like, what was the bet?
Oh, we didn't, it was just a friendly bet. I said that he would at least be a Duck at the beginning of the season, and you were saying...
And
he wouldn't be. That it was just you and I were just like, it wasn't over. I mean, we could drink beers later, or we'll figure that out. But but no, we were just saying if he would be a Duck at the beginning of the season or not. You didn't think he would be. I still thought he would be. We're real close. We're almost to the start, so it looks like it's leaning in my direction. It could change, but if he is indeed on the team this season, like what do you think? Like, how is that? Because we can't have another season with him facing 50 shots and the Ducks facing the most shots in the history of the NHL, mind you, since they've been keeping that stat. Well, that happened last year. Yes, it did. Go back and look at the stats. We can't have him being frustrated too again this year. I mean, yes, we've improved the defense a little bit, gotten these guys, but do you think he gets moved? Do you think he's the long-term plan, or what do you think? Because he signed up till 26-27. So how do you think Gibson factors into this season and all the freaking drama that's been going on around him?
Okay, well, first and foremost, our bet will be if I lose, dinner and drinks on me.
All right.
So
same here.
Okay, we'll shake on it, a virtual shake.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I think this is a bad move. I think that Gibson should have been traded. This team's not going to be competitive for a few more years.
Right.
Why dig in and waste until Gibson's prime years, where he can actually pay dividends to a team that can help him win a Stanley Cup? Get the most you can for him. You can get a huge haul, especially with goaltenders are so, like, his caliber is so rare. Yeah, his numbers aren't that great on paper, but look the shots he's facing, the team he has in front of him. Verbeek's always talking about, oh, I want a number one. He's a number one goalie. But what the hell are you doing? Like, why you want a number one goalie of his caliber when this team's not going anywhere? Like, I don't know if Verbeek is delusional or if he's smoking something that I need to DM him or something, or write him and let him know, like, hey, can I smoke that? Is it legal? I'm not going to lose my clearance for it, but there's no reason to have a goalie of this caliber on the Ducks right now. Because once the Ducks become competitive, Gibson's not going to have that same prime form that he has. He has so much value right now, and teams will chop off their freaking leg or give their firstborn son to get a goalie like this to win the Stanley Cup. And we can thrive on that, and we can take that pick and those picks, those players that they'll give us, we can get a huge return and turn this team around sooner than it is. This team did not seem like it got that much better than last season. This team did not seem like it's going to be an improvement. Obviously, yes, we were dead last, but I don't think we're going to be better than a bottom five team we're going to be. And then not trading Gibson. And yeah, I know like people were speculating, oh, it's rumors. Obviously, that much rumors going around, and your agent has to come and kind of bark for you. And, a guilty dog always barks, I always say. So when your agent has to go over there and bark things for it, obviously there's some truth to it. So Gibson being in this lineup, it's just, it's a wrong decision. We should have got more an asset return. Maybe he's waiting for the trade deadline where teams go really crazy. He did a good job with Raquel and Lindholm trading them, but it's just there's no point. Gibson steals a few more games, wins a few more points. I mean, the same outcome's gonna happen. The Ducks aren't gonna do anything. And I'm not trying to shat in the Ducks or anything. The Ducks are my team, but I'm being realistic. This team's not gonna go anywhere. for this season, and I don't even see it for the next season unless some significant changes make, unless these players really, really rise. But that's not going to happen. It's reality. Like, do you expect to lose 1,000 pounds in 1 year? Like, come on. We have to actually think about the whole gist of things. So Gibson being there, I still, I like Gibson. I think he's a great goalie. He did a good job for us. But I want him to be gone. I want him to be gone before the start of the season. I think his value is high, and teams, like I said, teams will give up their firstborn to get a goalie like this, and we can get a lot in return, and we can rely on Dostal and Stalock to man the pipes. I mean, what's the worst going to happen? Like, we're going to be dead last again? I mean, it doesn't really matter, but we have to do something to get this team better, and keeping Gibson and Rebrand, his comment saying that, oh, we have a number one goalie. Okay, well, you have a number one goalie, but is your goalie as big as a blue whale where the whole net's going to be covered and you can't score when you have no defense? Like, come on. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You have Gibson in this situation where we could have traded him before, got a lot. Now you didn't do that. And here you are. The defense, if Verbeek came out strong getting Gudis and Killorn, but then after that, it's just it kind of fell off. Yeah, you got some of these depth signings. You have a big cap space now, and you didn't get our two core players signed. And it sounds like he wants to slow roll the development because you talk about, hey, how else can you help out? Well, we've got some defensemen, Minty Kulov, Zellweger, Luno, these other guys that are Willie 26 asks, is it true that Verbeek doesn't plan on using them in Anaheim this year? And I don't think he does. I don't think he plans on using any of these guys. It sounds like from the training camp interviews and stuff that he wants to slow roll them. And I get that. I understand that. But you don't have Jamie Drysdale right now. How healthy is Vakanainen? At some point, are you not going to have to try to bring these guys up and give them some sniff of the NHL this year and help out? I mean, you got to try and do some stuff here. So I would like that. I'd like, hey, try and bring them up. Get some of these guys in the mix. You got to work on the defense, or you do what you said, Eddie. You trade him. Get an outstanding defenseman, a shutdown defenseman in this deal. Let Dostal roll in net, Stalock's backup, or whoever you want to have as the backup. Do what you want to do, because we've seen it, before. You don't necessarily have to have an all-star goalie to win the cup. Look at Vegas.
Adin Hill, yes.
Yeah, look at Vegas. Adin Hill, he's not. I'm sorry. Is he a good goalie? Of course, he's a good goalie. Is he an all-star goalie? I don't know. But if you have an all-star,
hell no, he's not.
Right.
He is not, Mike.
I know. I'm just saying it. You know what I mean. So if you have an all-star defense, though, in front of a decent goalie, then things can happen. But right now, the defense. You added really one guy, Gudis. I'm like, okay. You got Lyubushkin in there. Okay, but you haven't really improved the defense significantly. So to me, if I was to make a move, I'd trade Gibson, get some badass defensemen, top four guy that's going to kick ass, grind it out, and make the defense awesome. Roll with Dostal, and I don't know. To me, I think that's a better game plan. And then give some of these younger kids a chance at the NHL. Let them see what they want to do. The other part of that too, and the rookies, because people are asking about rookies being called up and where they're going to play. The other one is Carlsson. It seems like Cronin's big on him. Killorn's big on him. Like, what are we going to do with Carlsson this season? Is he going to play in Europe? Is he going to play in San Diego? Or is he going to play with the Ducks? Seems like a lot of people think he should play in Anaheim. But I almost think that Verbeek won't do that either. In training camp, he's been skating with Terry and other top six forwards, which has been a very, very good sign. I like that. But I'm wondering, what is he going to do with him? I'm very, very curious because it seems like he wants to slow roll the development of these players. And to some degree, I agree with that. But, you gotta let some of these guys go at some point. And if you got a coach and guys that are saying that Carlson's ready to go, I'd say throw him in the mix. We've seen Minty Kulov and Zellweger too do great I mean, one of those two guys, you're not gonna maybe try him out. I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of question marks surround this team this season. That's where I'll leave it. I'll give you the last word, and then we'll kind of talk about some jersey stuff and some stuff that we're doing and kind of wrap up the show. But I'll give it to you for kind of a little final word here on the Ducks season and the uncertainty, Eddie.
Trade Gibson. And I've said this. No, I've said this numerous. No, nothing against Gibson at all. Nothing against him at all. I love Gibson. Now, I wasn't a fan of him way before, but now I do love him. Like I know his capability and stuff like that. But we have a team like Buffalo. Like Buffalo, yes, I mentioned Tage Thompson before, but it's like Buffalo wants to make that next move. They want to just jump up. They have what's it? Devon Levi. I'm pronouncing his name wrong. He's their goalie of the future, but he's still a rookie. You're going to throw a rookie and put that much pressure on him. They have Eric Comrie, Uka Pekanainen. They can trade Gibson to Buffalo, get Uka Pekanainen, and I keep telling people, I keep saying it to you, Mike, too. What's his name again? Victor Olofsson. Great shot. He has a wicked wrist shot. He loves to score. Ducks have been needing a pure goal scorer that loves to shoot the puck and put it in the back of the net, and his shot is completely insane. Buffalo gets John Gibson, and they get their top goalie that can pretty much get him into the playoffs. Levi can kind of Gibson can be a mentor to Levi, and everything wins. And then they can trade Eric Comrie or keep him in as a depth goalie, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this team. I don't know what's going on with Verbeek and why he's not trying to. He's just trying to be really conservative about reconstructing this team and moving it up different. He's just doing baby steps, and it's going to get frustrating for fans. Like fans want, and they deserve a better product on the ice. Fans go and spend $17 a beer. The tickets, the parking, like you have to put a product on the ice that people want to buy. You're not selling it, and what you're doing in this offseason isn't. Like I said, there's no point to keep Gibson if this team's not going to be competitive for another few years. And I keep saying that, and I thought it was going to be less than that. But the way this team is going, this team's not going to be competitive for another more of those few years. So it's like what are you doing? What's your end game, and what do you want to accomplish? I think management deserves tell the fans what their whole goal is, like the truthful goal, not like what Bob Murray did every season. Like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Like, we're there. Like, we have to know what's going on. Like, just be honest with your fans. And we spend a lot of money to go to these games, and a lot of people, and I respect it. A lot of people, and I was like myself at one time, where I couldn't afford to go to games a lot, and I spent my last money or to go into games. I had to park in the free parking over there by the Honda dealership. If not, it's like that's the only money I had, so I couldn't get a beer or whatever. But it's just like you have to tell the fans the truth of what's going on. And Verbeek seems like he's just in his own little world, and he doesn't really give a shit about what's going on with his team. He wants to just do what he wants, and him not signing Zegras is one of those things that are really bad for this fan base. And you just got everyone trying you real quick.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen it in the posts. We see what everybody responds to the comments and everything that we've, especially I would say in the last week or so, with the training camp. People aren't happy. Another thing, it's kind of interesting, and we'll kind of transition and wrap this up, but this is the 30th season, right, for the Ducks. And we had Chris J. Campos asking, what season do we expect an official complete rebrand? And it's another thing, we're not seeing that either. We saw the 30th anniversary jersey. We went into talking about that in the last show. We're not really going to go over that too much, but you're still missing that boat too. You've got the other jerseys on there. You're not going with the Mighty Ducks ones, which everybody wants. If you don't go with the original ones, then you go with something very similar colors. People will love it. You had a chance to do that with the 30th jersey. They didn't do that. They put on the patch from Wild Wing back in those days, so they were close, but they didn't do it. And then the jerseys with the whole thing with the sponsorship, we've gone on and on about that. But now you see the A is below the 30th patch, and that other W for that other company's on the other side. It just looks like a cluster F. I just not a fan of that. So now you have a team that has a sponsor on there that I know other people aren't happy about that on there. But where the A is, it looks all screwed up. It doesn't look right. And look at these training camp, game or practices, and then the rookie camps and all that stuff. So that's another issue. So I don't know when this team's going to do a rebrand. It's not going to be this year, so you're not going to see it now. They did their 30th anniversary jersey. I don't know, maybe the 35th year? I mean, I really don't know. I mean, there's so much speculation last season that we were going to get some kind of rebrand with the home or the away, or or possibly the third jersey, or a couple or something. You saw Boston, they redid a bunch of their jerseys. So, you thought maybe something would happen with this team. They didn't do that. They did the 30th jersey. It was okay. It was okay. We already weighed our 2 cents on that in the last show.
It was okay. Yeah. It was honestly, it was dog shit.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I know you really didn't like it. I thought it was okay. I just didn't like the crest logo. That was my whole thing. I was disappointed on that. But that's where they are with that. So that's another swing and a miss. A lot of people weren't happy with that, and now the configuration on the jersey. So, I don't know. And we have a different broadcast thing. That's unfortunately another issue that's going on. You've got Dan Woods out. You have Edom that's coming in. I'm happy about that. He seems to be doing a great job. That seems to be good. But the TV broadcast, I don't know what's going on. It seems like they're not really publishing that stuff. I'm not sure if it's Valley Sports again or what's going on with that. So even that part's a question mark. So I don't know. A lot of weird stuff going on with this season. So anything you want to throw in on there, Eddie, and then I'll kind of close it out with kind of what's going on with us. A little bit of changes going on with Ducks and Pucks and some new stuff that I'll just throw in. Maybe not new stuff, but just kind of our announcements of what we're doing here before we wrap up the show.
No, just want to shout out Dan Wood. He was a great person for Anaheim Ducks. I miss him. I'll miss him calling games. He had a voice, and he actually had the passion and cared about Ducks. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus or saying anything, but I think Ducks keep screwing up. And I'm not afraid to call out the Ducks. I grew up with the Ducks. I love the Ducks. They're my favorite team. But once they start screwing up and doing what they're doing right now, I'll call them out real quick. And I'll keep doing that. I'm not going to stop. I don't care if anyone has a problem with it or whatever. Like, you can always DM me. We can have a nice little conversation and debate about it. The Ducks have screwed up royally, and they keep doing it. So it's really frustrating. So I'm glad to be back on the show, but I'm not going to sit here and kind of babysit people or sugarcoat things about the Ducks. If I don't like something, I'm going to say it. And there's a lot of things this offseason that make me not optimistic about the Ducks. So it is what it is. Hopefully it changes. Fans, thank you so much. The questions that you gave us, you made us talk about it more. So I'm really grateful for that. And also I want to throw out there before I send it off to Mike, I will doing our Ducks and Pucks fantasy hockey again. I'm going to do one that we give away jerseys, we give away things, some sort of things we give away. But I also think about doing a paid one. Like, we all pitch in some kind of money, $10, $15, $20. We all pitch in. I know, like, paid fantasy hockey leagues, people tend to get into that more. If I win, obviously, I'm going to donate my money to OC Animal Shelter. But I'll post that on Ducks and Pucks soon about the two fantasy hockey things. If you guys want to do a paid one, too, just let me know and we'll work on that. But for sure, we're going to have a Ducks and Pucks fantasy hockey coming up soon.
No, it sounds great, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, we've done, this kind of wrapping up just with stuff we're doing. We're doing some giveaways, too. I gave away some tickets on Instagram to a preseason game. Going to give away another one on probably there or maybe on X or Facebook, whatever. But on social media, just follow the accounts. We'll be doing more giveaways this year. I have some extra jerseys, too, that I'm going to give away. There's stuff that I want to just unload and give back to the fans and give you guys just free giveaways just because I want to give back to you guys. We're going to do more watch parties with our buddy Josh over at Noble Ale. So we'll be over there again this season again, like we were last year. We'll see how many. I think we had like 4 or 5 last year. We'll see how many we have this season. So that's another thing to look forward to. And I guess we're really popular, Eddie, because people are making fake accounts of us. I had some people on Instagram basically copying our logo and all our info and then messaging you guys saying that you won the game tickets and then asking you for your personal info. So it's unfortunate to see that, but if that happens, that is not me or Eddie sending you those messages. It's some asshole that's copying us, and there are also people copying our Ducks and Pucks gear and posting all kinds of stuff on Facebook too. So another unfortunate thing, I had to deal with that the last month. Appreciate the attention, but don't really appreciate the I'll just call it illegal copyright, whatever you want to say it, because we are an actual LLC. So if you know anybody that's out there doing that stuff, please let me know. I have no problem suing them and going after them. I'm really not happy about people stealing our stuff and then trying to resell it or trying to steal your personal information. I am not a big fan of that, especially in the line of work that Eddie and I do. That's just completely unacceptable. So one thing I did do, I changed up some stuff. If you do look at all our social media accounts, I did make a link tree for all our accounts. So if you go on there, it's, you know how that works. It's linktr.ee, then the /Ducks and Pucks. It's on Instagram. I threw it up on Twitter. A bunch of stuff. I'm starting to post it in the description box of our podcasts as well. You can go in there. That is all our legit accounts. So those are the ones. If you're getting a message from some other account that's not on there, then please let me know. And you guys did a fantastic job on Instagram. I think about 30 of you messaged me within an hour. I was like, what is going on? And you guys reported that person, got them booted. Again, it's probably the same person because they've done it a couple times on Instagram. But just know that. So check out that link tree that we've got. It's in the profile link on Twitter. It's on the profile link on Instagram, and I placed it in all kinds of other spots. I made some posts, too, about it with some screenshots, so you can go on there. Our Patreon's on there. Podcast is on there. The store's on there. All the social media's on there. There's tons of stuff on there that you can go in there and look and pull up all of our accounts and everything, and that'll take care of, hopefully any more of the shenanigans by other people going on there and trying to steal our stuff, unfortunately. But yeah, I had to deal with that the last couple weeks. Very, very frustrating. And then just lastly, we're just doing our own thing again. We're not connected to anybody. We're just independent, covering the Ducks. We're not associated with any group. We're not associated with the Ducks. We never have been. We're just going to do our own thing. We're going to keep on rolling this season. We didn't really cover a lot of the prospect stuff and rookie camp stuff on this show. We kind of wanted to catch up on some of the other things and whatnot, but I have to give a huge shout out to Thomas. He did his tons of articles. He did all his prospect updates. He did a recap of the rookie tournament, his top 10 rookies list. I mean, Thomas, you're the fucking shit, dude. I love you, dude. I love you because you kick ass during the summer when hockey is dead. And I was scrambling to get out all the articles in the last couple weeks. So if you haven't seen them, go on DucksNPucks.com. There is a shit ton of articles on there. He just killed it. I think there's like 30 articles that we published in the last month, blowing away the article market there. If you were looking for stuff, there's tons of stuff there. So Thomas, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You always kick ass, especially in July and August. So like I said, we didn't cover a lot of the rookie stuff. There's tons of articles in there. You can go in there, read about all the players. Thomas killed it. So that's all I got. Eddie, anything you want to add before we close out?
Yeah, one more thing. Mike Babcock.
Oh, yes.
His phone.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that real quick.
Yes.
I'm an old school kind of person, but you checking someone's phone, that's invasion of privacy. It's disgusting. You're a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I'm an old school player, but old school type of mentality, but that's crossing the line. So I'm glad he's out of Columbus. So, former Ducks former Ducks coach. Who knows who is doing that? I mean, back in the day, I don't know. He's checking his players' phones or I don't even know what he'd be checking at that time. But it's like weird. But you know what? He's out there, so.
Yeah.
Big news.
Yeah. We didn't really cover league news that much this time. Obviously, we'll do that more in our regular show, which we'll get back into the rhythm of things. Eddie and I are kind of talking about scheduling. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do stuff. We're both super busy. I don't know if it's going to be every week or every 2 weeks. We'll try and figure it out. We already got a day of the week that we're going to try and plan on. So it most likely we'll be doing more towards the end of the week. And publish, putting out the podcast as opposed to earlier in the week is kind of what we're looking at. Frequency, I'm not really sure yet, but we'll figure it out. And the stuff with Babcock, like, what the hell, dude? Like, really? Like, everybody's phone, that's like everybody's life. And if like you lose your phone, like, it's the end of the world. Now, on top of that, someone like demands, like your boss demands to look at your phone and go through your stuff. You can eat a bag of you know what. Like, no, man. Like, you're not touching my phone, dude. You can go get a subpoena.
Welcome to the Army.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Army,
right?
bro.
Yeah.
The Army did that bullshit.
Right?
All the time.
Right. But
I hated that.
Right. And outside of that, though, like outside of the military, like the civilian world, right? Hey, man, you go get a search warrant. You want to see my phone? You can get a search warrant. Good luck with that. Here's the bag of you know what. So, yeah, that was a weird thing this last couple weeks. But with that, I know the show wasn't as uplifting as probably you guys expected it to be, but we wanted to be real because that's how we are. We're not going to sit here and sugarcoat stuff, as Eddie said. But with that said, I love the support from you guys. You guys are killing it. Instagram especially, you guys are huge. We started a TikTok account too, so we're getting that rolling. And you guys have been awesome. No matter how bad this season may turn out or whatever happens, we will be here. We will cover the team. We're going to give away a lot of free shit, probably more so this season than any season before. We've already given away game tickets to 2 preseason games. Going to do the third one. My work schedule is crap, unfortunately, in the beginning of seasons. There's a bunch of games I won't be able to go to, so there's going to be a lot of giveaways. So that'll maybe ease the pain if this season doesn't go the way it goes. But I'll end up signing off here, and we just let you know that we appreciate you guys, and let's go Ducks.